Uh-oh. Make sure I put my... All right. All right. Hopefully I did that one right. I guess it's a different one. Hey. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I just take this jacket off. Put his vest off. It's a little warm in here for me. Put the... Oh, I need to put my hair up too. It's getting in the way. Goodness. Okay, I'm gonna take this off too, I guess. My hair don't get stuck. Hey. Ah. I don't know where it's getting stuck at. Bad thing about having thick, long hair. It just gets stuck everywhere. All right. Guess we can get started now. All the commotion's out of the way. Hey. All right. So, halito. Hachimachugma. Amachugma. Yakuki. So, we have another phrase up here. Well, not really a phrase. It's like kind of a sentence kind of thing or whatever. And so, I'll read it to you guys. Halito. Akachapiso na week tukulo ona hachim palata litok hasan palata ha. And so, does anybody kind of remember what akachapiso? I feel like I say this all the time. Yeah, I haven't seen y'all. And so, na week tukulo. Yeah. So when you say ona, kind of like that, it's like saying going on. So it's like, I haven't seen you going on 2 weeks. So that's kind of our way of saying, like, it's been like 2 weeks since I've seen you. But obviously the words doesn't say that. It just says, I haven't seen you in going on 2 weeks. And so, but this one right here, Hachim Palata Litok. Hachim Palata Litok. So Hachim, then you got Li, you got Tuk. The only thing you probably don't know is this Palata. And so so like if a loved one goes away for a long time and then they can't come by, it's like, I haven't seen you in a long time. Oh, Chin Palata Lituk. I missed you, yeah. So in Palata means to like miss somebody, kind of in that way. So Hachin Palata Lituk, I missed you all. And so this one, Hassan Palata, huh? So what is that asking? Yeah. Did y'all miss me? So Hachin Palata Lituk, Hassan Palata, huh? Did y'all miss me? I heard someone say Q. Yeah. All right. So that's our little phrase for this evening. All right. So 2 weeks ago we kind of talked about subject markers when we kind of been going over subject markers for a couple of times that we've been. It almost seems like we get here for a week and then we miss a week or 2 weeks or something like that, and then we don't come back and we have to learn the same thing over and over again. But do you guys kind of remember anything from learning subject markers? Can you tell me a little bit about subject markers? What does a subject marker do? It says it in the name. It marks the subject. Yeah, it marks the subject. And so if you got somebody or something doing an action, then that warrants that person or thing to have a subject marker. So let's do a little bit of review. And so, because I got it on this yama in lapat, I'm gonna reference this, but I'm not gonna like read it verbatim because this is for y'all to go home and read. And so, but we're gonna talk about a lot of the things that are in this packet already anyway. And so, let's just take for instance, like the favorite thing I like to say all the time or to use is hatak. So we got the person or the place or thing already. So hatak is what? Man, yeah. Or in some cases, it could be what? Human. Yeah, human. And so if we got the verb anompuli, what is that verb? To speak or to talk, yeah. And so hatak anompuli, if we don't have that subject marker there, this could mean a couple of things. So this could mean like if you put it together, hatak anompuli, maybe a speaker, maybe a male speaker or a man speaker or whatever. And so you could say that. Or if it's spaced out like this, it could probably be like, well, it wouldn't make sense to say he's talking to a man or she's talking to a man because you still need a recipient pronoun. And so that doesn't make sense. And so what we're trying to get here is what do we need to make this sentence a complete sentence? Ut. Yeah, so that is the what? Subject marker. I'm not trying to ask any trick questions. If y'all think y'all know the answer, just say it because it's probably the right answer. All right, yeah. So hatakat anompole, hatakat anompole, and so now this ut just covers saying that this person, place, or thing, or whatever it is doing an action. So in this case, anompole, which is speaking. So same thing for Ohoyo, let's say impa. So again, if we just leave it like this, then it could mean a couple of things here. So Ohoyo impa, maybe an eating woman, a woman that eats a lot or something like that. I don't know, but but also in this case, this one actually could mean he or she is eating a woman. And so you don't want to say that, right? And so what is this missing? Subject marker, which is yet. Yet. And so now, ohoyo yat impa. Ohoyo yat impa. So now that's saying the woman is eating. The woman is eating. And it's just general. She's not eating anything specific. And so the woman is eating. So going back to what we learned previously, why do we use ut right here, but yet right here? You guys remember? Because of the vowel consonant rules, right? And so this word right here, hatak, ends in a consonant, and so therefore we're going to use ut because it just kind of flows better like that. Hatakat, hatakat. It's almost like you put it together so it makes one sound. Hatakat, hatakat. But it it throw that flow off just a little bit if you say hatakyat, hatakyat. It just sounds a little off. And so that's why we say hatagat. and it's easier to say it like that. Same thing with here. Ohoyo. Ohoyo ends in a vowel, and so we need another consonant to support that, which is the Y. So that's why I'm telling you why. Hey, not kidding. So in this case, it'd be ohoyo yat impa, ohoyo yat impa, and so and it does kind of sound a little off when you say ohoyo at, ohoyo at. It almost just sounds just a little bit off, but you don't have to worry about perfecting it. I mean, it'd behoove you to perfect it as much as you can. But if you just are casually talking and you say ohoyo at impa, that's perfectly fine. But learning it this way just helps with the flow of the sentence, and so it won't sound. It will sound like a like a smooth wave or something like that. But like when you say ut, it's just like oh, it just kind of messes up the flow just a little bit. Anyways, and so that's the basic of ut and yet. So we have vowel consonant rules for ut and yet. And so if you guys read ahead, but if not, I'll let you know. We're going to learn about yamat and mut, and then ilaput and put. And so these two are also subject markers. So they do the same exact thing. And so, but the only difference is, when we say ut, hut, and yet, most of the time when we start the sentence, we're going to say the woman, the man, an apple, a house, and stuff like that. But when we use these, they're going to change because yamut and mut just mean that or those. So in the singular form, it could mean that. And in the plural form, it could mean those. And so, but don't think that yamut means that and mut means those. No, that's not what I'm doing here. Yamut and mut can mean both of those. I'm just saying because this is the proper way to say it, the full way, I guess you can say. But like a lot of times when you speak, you're just gonna cut that mut or yum off and just say mut. And so we'll go through some examples. So these two do the same thing, but they can mean that or those. Okay? And the same thing for this. So basically, mut is just a shortened version of yum mut. So nothing changes about it. Does that make sense? Okay, just making sure. All right, then we have ilaput and put. Same rules apply. But for ilaput and put, this time it's going to be this and these. So same rules apply. You can say ilaput or put to mean this or these. And so just remember that this is kind of hard. Like for some reason, I find that learners have trouble differentiating between the two once we get started. The more you go on, the more you'll start figuring it out. I would say this, a lot of the times, mut is probably going to be the best thing you're going to use because we always say that house, that dog, that woman, that crazy woman, or something like that, or whatever. And so that gets used more time than this for some reason. I don't know why. It's just how people are talking. And so anyways, so when I said that these do the same exact thing as ut, hut, and yut, is that if we go back to our first sentence here, cool. Hatak. So the first sentence was hatagat anumpuli. And so, what does this sentence mean again? Hatagat anumpuli. The man is speaking. Yeah, the man is speaking. Or a man is speaking. It depends on the context. And so when we go back to yammat and ilapat, you can do it the same way. And so hatak, and I'm gonna leave a big space here. And so if we wanted to say that man is speaking, so which one would you use? Yammat. Yammat. So you can say hatak, yammat. Cool, it's gonna be really squished. Hatak yammat anompole. Hatak yammat anompole. And so it's saying that man is speaking. That man is speaking. Okay? And then we'll work on yammat for right now, and we'll probably circle back to a lapat here in a little bit. And so same thing for the other sentence we use. Oh, cool. Okay, ohoyo, and the first one we had, it was ohoyo yat impa. Ohoyo yat impa. And so if we wanted to say, well, if ohoyo yat impa means the woman is eating, then how would we say that woman is eating? Yeah, go ahead, say it. Yeah, you can say that too. Yeah. Ohoyo matimpa. Ohoyo matimpa. So that is saying that woman is eating. That woman is eating. And so you can interchange these. And so you can, up here, you can also say hatak mata nompule. Hatak mata nompule. And it would still mean that man is speaking. And then vice versa here, if you want to say ohoyo yamat impa, ohoyo yamat impa, it still means that woman is eating. And so these are just, so over time, we kind of cut things down, or we shorten things down to make things easier. And so if you want to say yamat, sometimes when I'm trying to be not too specific, but a little bit specific, I would probably use yamat, just to add more emphasis, I guess. But a lot of the times, speakers will probably just use mut. And so if I want to say hatak yamat, if I say it like that. So if a little kid was talking, but a man was talking over here, I'll say Allah mat anumpule, or let's say he's being quiet. So Allah mat lomat banili, he's like sitting there being quiet. Hatak yamat anompule, like that man is talking, you can say it like that. But also you just say hatak mata anompule, that man is speaking. And it's just a simple sentence like that. Okay? Does that make sense? You guys lost? Hachiyo shobaho. Kiyo? Okay, all right. We're moving along then. Okay, so I'm gonna write this back up here just because I wanted to add more space. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say hatak mat. Let's just go ahead and say haklo. Let's use the new verb. So hatak mat haklo. Hatak mat haklo. So let's say if we're all talking, but then we see a guy over there, he's just like sticking his ear out. It's like hatak mat haklo. That man's listening, and so yeah, that man's listening, and so, but let's actually change the verb. It's not what I want to do. Hey, let's say taloa. And so if we're over here, like I said, but then we got like one guy over there, and he's going like aholo, Ahulo, Ahulo, Finaski. We could say, Hatag mat talowa, Hatag mat talowa. That man is singing. But also, so in a singular way, that could mean that man is singing. But depending on context, if you see 3 or 4 men over there, they're singing, and they're all singing 4-part harmony to some "I'm winging my way back home" or something like that, then you also can still say "Hatak mat taloa," "Hatak mat taloa," and that will turn it to "those men are singing." So the good thing about Choctaw is that a lot of times we can alleviate a bunch of English words. So in English, we have to say that man is singing. But if it's more than 3 or something like that, then we have to change the English to say those men are singing. And so English is, you have to change it up. But in Choctaw, you could just leave it the same. You can say Hatag mat taloa, that man is singing. Hatag mat taloa, those men are singing. They both mean the same thing. But context, like I said, is huge whenever you say that. Because if you say Hatag mat taloa, and then you see like 3 or 4 men over here singing, and you say, "What'd you say?" I said, "That man is singing." He's like, "Oh, I thought you were saying those men were singing," or something like that. So context needs to be present in order for this to be clear. It needs to be context needs to be present in order for this to be clear. And I need to get my words right. So, like I said, if we see a bunch of men over there singing, then we can say Hatag mat taloa, those men are singing. But if we see one by itself sitting right here, I'll say Hatag mat taloa, that man is singing, singular. And so, but if you wanted to make it extremely clear, then you could just add, oops, I think I spelled that wrong. And so this would be, so Hatak athiha mat taloa, Hatak athiha mat taloa. And so this athiha, it's like a plural word. It makes things plural, but only people, places are actually just living things. You can't say choka athiha because houses aren't living, and so you can't say that. But this is only made for like living things, humans, animals, and stuff like that. And so hatakashiha mat taloa, those men, and that's making it very clear that you're talking about a group of men. A group of men are singing. And so there's that. Likewise, you can say Ahoyo, let's go Yamat. Let's go ahead and do Anopoli again. Okay. So Hoyo Yamat Anopoli. Ahoyo Yamat Anopoli. So what does that mean? Ahoyo Yamat Anopoli. That woman is speaking, that lady is speaking. Yeah. And so if there's one lady, let's just say she's over there and she's going, just talking to herself or something like that, I'll say, "Oh, you matanopoli," like that woman is talking. But obviously, like if you saw a group of women over here, and let's say like 3 or 4, and when Choctaw women get together, they go ha 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 ha, like you hear them laughing all from Timbuktu, so. But if they're over there giggling and they're talking over there amongst themselves, and there's 3 or more of them or whatever, you could say "Ahoyo mat anompole," "Ahoyo mat anompole," and that turns to those women are speaking, or those women are talking. And so these are just like It could be singular, plural, but just remember, like I said, context plays a huge role. So, does that make sense? Can I? Does anything confusing? Is everything straightforward for right now? Everything's kosher. Hey, no, okay. All right. So I did give you guys, and those examples are kind of what's on your little packet thing. But I gave you guys a bunch of lists. So I got a list for nouns. I got a list for verbs. And I got a list for adjectives. And so we're going to kind of try to play around with that just a little bit. But before we get into that, we need to talk about ilapat. So I just want you guys to look at that vocab list a little bit. So ilapat plays the same role as yammat. However, instead of saying that or those, we say this or these. Yeah, this or these. So if you want to think about it, a lot of the times when you say ilapat, a lot of the things should be close by you. So I would say huliso ilapat, but if I want to say that kitchen, I would say ahoponi yama or yamat. So because it's way over there, and I'll say medallion mutt, that medallion or the medallion yamat, that medallion right there. And then I say istolisochi ilapat, and so yammat is generally away from you, whereas ilapat is somewhere close to you. That's why when we use yammat, we say that or those. And then whenever we use ilapat is this or these. And so if I'm showing you something, if I said, everybody take a look at that paper, did that make sense? Now I would say, everybody take a look at this paper, because it's right next to me. But if it was sitting right there, I would say, I want everybody to get up and get this paper. In English, it kind of makes sense because it's somewhat closer to me than to y'all. But let's say those papers over there. See how I said those papers? So I would say, everybody get up and grab one of those papers. It would sound weird to say, everybody get up and get these papers. I mean, for some reason in English, it kind of sounds okay. I guess because we're from around here, so we make it sound okay, I guess. I don't know. But in Choctaw, it doesn't make sense, okay? And so, ilapat, this or these, okay? So, looking at your vocabulary list, somebody give me a noun. There's 30 of them on there. Pinty, yeah. Oh, see, I don't sound like Chickasaw. Hey, Pinty, because there's a girl I work with. Her name is Mouse in Chickasaw, but they say it differently than we do. So when we say mouse in Choctaw, we say Pinty, Pinty, Pinty. But over there, they say it how it's written, Pinty, Pinty. And so I keep hearing that name over and over again. And so since I've heard it too much, I say Pinty now for some reason. Pinty, Pinty, Pinty. So everybody say Pinty, Pinty. Okay, all right. And so this is basically this in kind of insinuates nasality. So you use your nasal when you say that. And so best way I can explain it to you is like in a standard pen, what's inside the pen? Ink, ink. So if you think about that I in the pen, in the word ink, just take the K off and go e, okay? So Pinti. Pinti. Okay? Okay, so we're going to say Pinti, Mutt, and then someone give me a verb and or an adjectives or adjective. Banili. Oh, balili. Balili. Okay. Yeah. So pinti mat balili. So if you got mice in your house, as soon as you turn the light on or something, you might go. So pinti mat balili. Pinti mat balili. So what is this saying? What is it? You're saying the mouse? That. Yeah. But also, I forgot we're supposed to be doing ilaput. Hey. So I made a boo boo. Hey. Let's do put. Put. So remember, you can do ilaput or put. So now pinti put balili. Pinti put balili. So now what is it saying? This mouse, yeah. This mouse is running. He's running for his life. Hey. Funny thing is, you could say, so you can say pinti put bali kania. Pinti put bali kania. So whenever we're shortening this down to say balit, balit, you basically got two verbs together. I know we kind of went over this briefly, but two verbs together. The first one gets a T, and it should be balilit, 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 but speakers will actually just cut off that last li and say balit, and then kania. So this is our way of saying running away. Bali kania, bali kania. So anybody watch Tom and Jerry? Every time Tom looks at Jerry, Pinti, Pinti Put Bali Kania, or should I say Pinti Mut Bali Kania? Because it's weird to say this because mouse needs to be around here. They're like, ah! So Pinti Put Bali Kania. But anyways, I don't want to get confuse you guys too much, but yeah, so it's that simple. All you have to do is find your subject, put a subject marker on it, and then you can add a verb. And so, what else can we do with pinti? Like if I had like a stuffed animal version of a mouse, so I could say pinti. So what else could we say about pinti? So if it's in my hand, what else could I say? Maybe an adjective to describe it. Chito. Okay, so I have to hold it like this. Hey. So if I had a big mouse, I would say pinti put chito. Pinti put chito. And so you can do an action or you can describe something and it would still work the same way. So pinti put chito. So if I'm holding it in my hand and I was showing it to you, I was like, pisa, pinti put chito, pinti put chito. This mouse is big. Okay. And so, but if I had like a box of mice and they were all big, I guess they wouldn't be pinti then, would they? They'd be pichali. Pichali just means rat. So if I had a box full of pinti that were chito, what could I say? I would still be able to say pinti put chito. Pinti pat chito. These mice are big. These mice are big. But also, when you describe things with chito, sometimes I hate to get too into the weeds, but sometimes you can say this too. I think it's hochinto, but pinti pat hochinto, and so or hochito, and so that means they're all big. They're all big, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now because that's a little more advanced. And so if you're just trying to do basic, you can just do pinti pat chito, pinti pat chito. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Is your mind just like this canvas? Blank. Hey. All right. And so, yeah, it's these. I'm trying to figure out where my paper went. Oh, it's right here. So Yamut and the Laput do the same thing as Ut, Hut, and Yut. However, it's just Ut, Hut, and Yut is a or the, whereas Yamut and Yamut Mut could be that or those. Ilaput could be this or these. So I don't want you guys getting too confused on it. This is why I gave this to you guys so you can read it, because I know when we're going over it side by side, it's kind of hard to comprehend. But that's why sometimes I like to do just Mut by itself. And then next week we'd probably do Ilaput. But like I said, most of the time you're going to say Mut. I find myself saying Mut or Yamut all the time. And so, but I will say one more thing. When you're trying to say like that person, that thing, or that object, or that place is doing something or are doing something, then the sentence structure always has to be subject, uh, subject marker, and then verb. And so, in the case of that man is speaking, that man is man is the subject, mut is the subject marker, and verb is the anumpuli or taloa or whatever case have you. And so most of the time your sentences are going to look like that. And so just very basic sentences are going to look like that. But if you want to say like that is a man, there's a difference. And so let me put this back up here. I know we keep seeing it over and over, and we could use other verbs, nouns, and stuff like that. But I just want to make sure I hit this home. So let's go impa because it's shorter. I don't have to write as much. Hey. So here, this thing right here is the subject marker, but it's actually marking the subject. And so the sentence is saying, Hatak mat impa, that man is eating. We already know this. You already know this. We just went over it. So, but if you want to say, that is a man, it's going to be a little bit different. So that's a full sentence right there. Yammat hatak. Yammat hatak. So you're saying, that is a man. That is a man. And so someone told me the best way to describe it is this one here, it really depends on the placement of the word is. So that man is. And so you hear how like after the noun it says is, that man is. But with this one, is comes before the noun. So that is a man. Does that make sense? I know it's going to be a little confusing at first, and I understand. We'll definitely go over this again next week. But here, you're describing what that man is doing. But this one here, you're just telling somebody, oh, that is a man. That is a man. And so if I would say, ilapat nanta, you would say, yamat holiso. Yamat holiso. So you're saying, that is a paper. That is a paper. And so remember what I said about yammat and ilaput. So yammat is like over there, somewhere not in your vicinity, whereas ilaput is somewhere around here. So if I'm talking to y'all and I say ilaput nanta, I'm asking, what is this? So if I said, what is this in English? How would you respond in English? That is a paper. Yeah. So I'll say ilapat nanta. And so y'all don't say ilapat holiso because then you're saying this is a paper, but you're way over there. Does that make sense? So when I say ilapat nanta, y'all say yamat holiso. Yamat holiso. Okay? Does that make sense? Because this is closer to me, but it's far away from y'all. But if I was trying to ask Sarah, I was like, yamat nata. Yamat nata. I'm asking her, what is that? And she can say, since it's close to her, she can say, ilapat ishtishko. Ilapat ishtishko. This is a cup. This is a cup because it's closer to her. Does that make sense? Am I confusing anybody? Am I losing everybody? You guys eating my dust? Hey, no, see that. I'm going so far ahead. No, but this is kind of tricky, and I want you guys to read this paper over and over again, and try to think of sentences you can come up with. And so that's why I gave you these lists of verbs, nouns, and adjectives, so you can create your own sentences. And so I want to show you. Let's see. I'm going to use some of these. Let's see. So if I said, so if I said this, Banaha mat kapasa, Banaha mat kapasa, what am I saying? Huh? That Banaha is cold, yeah. In English, they say Banaha is shuck bread, but anytime we do Choctaw sentences with Banaha in it, I still just say Banaha. I don't say that shuck bread is cold. I still say that Banaha is cold. Because it's Banaha to me. Like, I don't say shuck bread. Anyways, so yeah, Banaha mat kapasa. Banaha mat kapasa. That Banaha is cold. That Banaha is cold. Okay? But what if I said, so if I change it to Yamat Banaha Kapasa, now what does it turn into? Huh? Well, these would be Ilapat. Well, that's what that says. So what does this one say? Remember, think about the place of the is. So that Banaha is cold. So you say this first. That is a cold Banaha. Yeah. That is a cold Banaha. Yeah. You don't want any of those. I mean, it'll still be good, but I like mine straight out the pot. When you cut it through, cut into it, and it just falls apart like that. Ooh, banahaya chompoli, or should I say banahaya mat chompoli? Those banaha are good. See, I'm using our lesson. But yeah, so I know this is tricky, but if you're making sentences, full sentences, like you're saying, this thing is doing that. Just think about that. This thing is doing that. Then you'd use this structure right here, the top one. But if you're saying, oh, that is, you're describing what it is, then it becomes yamat banaha kapasa, this second one. And so if we wanted to say that is warm banaha, how would you say that? Going off your vocabulary list. That is warm banaha. Yeah. So how would we put it together? Will we use this one or will we use that one? Libisha. Yeah. Yamat banaha libisha. That is warm banaha. But I guess another thing that would help is when we say that is warm banaha. Warm banaha are two words that are close by each other. So think about it this way. Banaha labisha are two words that are close together. So that is warm banaha. Yamat banaha kapasa. But if they're separated, banaha kapasa, then you can say that banaha, see, banaha is separated, is cold. So that's kind of how you remember that. If they're together, then you're going to use this structure. If they're separated, then you're going to use this one. Because you can see together, separated. So let's, without me writing it down, if I said Palaska Yamat Champule. So what am I saying? Am I saying that is good bread, or am I saying that bread is good? That bread is good. Yeah. Because why? Palaska mat champoli, because the words are separated, right? But if I said, let's say, choka yamat chito. So is that sentence structure number one or two? One, right? So choka mat chito. Choka mat chito, okay? So they're separated. That house is big. What about let's see. Uh, Allah mat kawasha. Or no, let me restructure my bad. Uh, Yamat alatik. Yamat alatik. Actually, let me say Yamat alatik kawasha. Yamat alatik kawasha. Ah, but I didn't say Allah tikmat kawasha. I said yammat Allah tik kawasha. So the words are Allah tik kawasha. Allah tik kawasha. So that is a short girl. That is a short girl. Okay. What about if I said yammat tanchi lushba? Yammat tanchi lushba. Hot corn, yeah. So yammat tanchi lushba. Huh? That is hot corn. Yeah. So if it comes straight off the grill, it's gonna be hot. So you say, "Yama tanchi lushba." Like that's hot corn. Don't mess with that or something like that. And so I'm trying to get you guys to recognize the differences between the two. And I know it's tough. It's tough. That's why we're not really diving into ilapat right now. But does anybody have any questions? Any concerns? Don't be afraid to ask. Because if I ask you guys next week, you're going to know it. Hey, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so this is very simple. Well, in terms of like going from hut, and yet, and then going over to yamut, mut, and ilaput, put. Um, but as far as like knowing which one to use, which structure to use, it's kind of difficult a little bit, and I understand that because whenever I was learning, it was tough. But if you practice it enough, it's gonna stick. And so, if you want to, we're not gonna worry too much about saying that is a big car, that is a big house, that is a small dog. We'll just worry about making sentences saying like that man is talking, this woman is eating, those children are playing, and stuff like that. We'll probably work on those a little bit more, and then try to do ilaput in there as well because ilaput's important. Let's see what else. I feel like I had something else that I wanted to say. Um, Nobody's got a question? Everybody knows everything? Hey, this is okay. Well, what time is it? Does anybody got the time? 7:22. Oh, dang. We got 8 minutes left. Woo, dang. I know when to cut it off. Hey. Okay, so next week we'll probably just dive more into this, and then, but if you guys want to, you don't have to. But if you want to go home and make like maybe 10 sentences with these vocab lists using mut and a laput, or if you want to, you can also use ut, hut, and yet also if you want to. And then we can talk about them next week and then see how well you did. Like I said, you don't have to. It's just more practice for you. Um, and hopefully this was easy to understand. If it's not, then obviously we have the YouTube too, so you can always go back. Uh, uh, so I might let me get a little feedback. So what do y'all think about what we're talking about so far? Do you think it's good? Is it too fast? Too slow? Not enough material or too much material? What are y'all thoughts? Give me some feedback. Not too much. Okay. Well, obviously you guys keep coming back, so hopefully I'm doing a good job. But as far as the pacing, is that okay? Because sometimes I feel like when I'm teaching, I know I can overload sometimes, and I can knowledge dump because I just have so much stuff in here that I just wish I could just give it to you, but I can't. And so what my brain does is tell them as much as you can, tell them as much as you can, and so. Um, But yeah, there's a lot of things, especially with the nouns. I try to do as much as I could for like animals, people, structures or places, and then objects, and then like food type stuff and stuff like that. So just go through these and remember what we talked about are vowel sounds. And so this would be a good example of trying to perfect your vowel sounds. So going through it and say, Ofi, Katos, Pinti, Isoba, Chokfi, Hatak, Ohoyo, Allah, Alonsi, Alatik, Allah Nakni, Chukka, Ayatatoba, Chukka. Oh, so I said that already. Holiso apisa tamaha. So we have that town, which is funny. It's kind of ironic that we have a town in Oklahoma named Tamaha. But you know how people say it that don't know Choctaw language? They say Tamaha. But if they knew Choctaw language, then they would say Tamaha. Tamaha. Okay? And then you got Ayatanaha. Ayatanaha. Holiso. Isht Holisochi. Oh, I forgot to write um, the definition. So if you guys don't know, Isht Holisochi just means pen, pencil, writing utensil, something to write with. Okay, non-ishko, a drink, but it really translates to something to drink, something to drink. Na champuli could mean a dessert, but the literal translation is something sweet. And then banaha, and I just say banaha, but in the English they say shuck bread. And then tobi, it's not Toby. Don't be saying no Toby. Oh yeah, there was I was talking about Curtis Billy. Do you guys know Curtis Billy? He passed away a couple of years, and I guess Brenner Billy, his son, or not son, his grandson, was talking about the other day was his birthday, and so it's been a couple of years since he's passed. But one thing I remember about Curtis Billy is that he was always a jokester. He just kept joking about things, and I swear sometimes he crossed the line of being serious to joking, but you didn't know where that line was. So you couldn't tell if he was being serious or being funny. So he was telling a story one time when we were in class. He said, Choctaw language was big. It was so big that everybody was speaking Choctaw. Like everybody had to do trade within the Choctaw Nation, and so everybody around us had to learn Choctaw, a little bit of Choctaw just to get by. And so he said Cherokees knew Choctaw back then. Like the Creeks and Seminoles, they knew Choctaw. Even like the Apaches and the absentee Shawnees and all of them, they knew Choctaw too. Choctaw was so big that it made it even over there to Shakespeare. And I was like, oh my goodness, like Shakespeare knew Choctaw too? I was like, dang, I didn't know that. And he was like, yeah, Shakespeare knew Choctaw. His famous line was, to be or not to be. I was like, get out of here. So that's what I was saying. You don't know if he's being serious or being funny. It's but that was my favorite stories about him. Anyways, going back to this before we end it. So 23 is Palaska. You got Tanchi, Nipi, Uka, Okchi, Pishokchi, Shokshi, and Kuffy. So try to say those last Lord 27, 28, and 29 all at the same time. Or actually no, 26, 27, 28. Oka, Okchi, Pashokchi, Shokchi. Try to say that fast. No, but yeah, so just go over these words, try to make some sentences, work on your pronunciation, and then next week we'll kind of go more over yamat, mut, ilaput, put. Um, but we're learning the basics. We're not veering off too far. I'm not trying to teach you guys things that are too much to handle, but I will show you a little bit of something. And so I'm just going to use the shortened versions, okay? So we learned, and now this might be extra. You don't have to, you can tune this out if you want to. So we have obviously Yamut and Ilaput. But in the Choctaw language, there's so many ways to say those, that, these, or this. Yeah, we have so many ways. And so you can say it also like this. And these are just shortened forms. And so Chabaho. Can't even remember. There's probably a few more, but you got mut, put, makun, pakun, mano, pano, mak, pak, ma, pa, makush, pakush. Like I said, you don't have to worry about these. This is just a little extra. But when you learn the basics, obviously the first thing you're gonna learn is mut and put. And that's gonna get you by to starting how to speak. But when you use all of these, start using these, they have their specific uses. Like, have you ever heard of makalla? Makalla. So if you notice, mak, and then it's supposed to be illa, but for some reason we say Allah. Makalla. And so mak illa means that, and then illa means only. So like that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's it. And so when we say makalla, we say that's it. But we don't say yamatilla, which that would work too. You still can say that. If you say yamako illa, yamano illa, yamak illa, yamma illa, yamagosh illa, a lot of those would still mean the same thing, but it would change just slightly depending on which one you use. But we use makilla, and so if I say mak illa means that's it, what would pakilla mean? So if I see a smorgasbord of food over there, but it's only like a little tiny table, I'll say yamakillahu. Is that it? But then if I sell that same table and it's right here, I'll say ilapakillahu. That man is singing, but if he's right here, then that would be this man is singing. Yeah, so ilapakillahu. Is this it? Yeah. So is that it? Ilapakilla. Is this it? I know I'm going overboard. I know you guys are getting tired, so we better end it right. So, if you guys don't have any questions, I just want to say yakoki. Next week, ma hachipi salachigi. Woo! I know I just blew your guys' mind right now, so you better call it quits. Hey. Umi yakoki. Next week, ma hachipi salachigi.